This is why I'm speaking about this. I'm really enjoying Andor. For me, it's the best Star Wars movie. Star Wars TV show, I should say, that Disney have created. And look, that's high praise, because I've really enjoyed The Mandalorian with Pedro Pascal, Giancarlo Esposito, people like that, even Gina Carano before she got fucking screwed. No, she didn't get screwed, she was just a really controversial and quite hateful person, so she got booted, rightfully. I think she was an anti-mask, anti-vaxxer or some shit like that, I don't know. So she was making some really fucking strange comments as well about other things. So, yeah, definitely not screwed. She was kicked, wrong choice of words, she was booted off that TV show, rightfully. But it's high praise. I've really enjoyed The Mandalorian. There's been some interesting stuff getting done. But for me, Andor with Diego Luna, the likes of Andy Serkis coming on board, some brilliant British talent in there. I've really enjoyed this TV show. Today, I think the writing's been on point. The sort of little Easter eggs to previous things have been on point. The world building's been on point. The split perspective, you get Mon Mothma, you've got Luthen, you've got Cyril, you've got fucking Andor, you've got all these characters doing different shit in different parts of this universe, and this galaxy, all have this part to play in creating the rebellion. Cyril, perhaps in worsening the boots in the ground, sort of, I don't know, evil, the tyranny of the Empire, because he's just a little obsessive fucking weirdo. Luthen, Mon Mothma, Andor, the different factions, Saw Gerrera of the rebellion. I've really enjoyed the show, that's what I'm saying. And it's largely down to guys like John Gilroy, who's of course related to Tony Gilroy, who was involved in the edits of Rogue One. It's down to guys like that this TV show is popping so well for me. Funnily enough, Tony Gilroy, not even a Star Wars fan, came on board to save Rogue One, came at it from a purely external standpoint, not as a guy obsessed with Star Wars like all the rest of the population seemingly. And he was able to remove himself from maybe the romanticism of this story leading up to A New Hope, and came at it clinically and saved the movie by all accounts. And this is really what Andor editor John Gilroy is revealing. He's revealing the massive changes that his brother Tony Gilroy made to that movie, which was in a bit of a mess. Gareth Edwards, by all accounts, tried to turn it into a soppy romantic fest. Wanted the characters to survive. It wouldn't have made fucking sense. They weren't in A New Hope. This took place, literally led right into A New Hope. It wouldn't have made any sense whatsoever. Tony came in, and John's been out and speaking about it, and this is what I had to say. He was speaking to the Rogue One's podcast. It's almost poetic that he spoke to that specific podcast. He had this to say. It was actually, the basic plan was very simple. They had the movie that they had, and they called Tony in, and Tony huddled for a while with another editor who was all on already, calling Gowdy, and used a lot of things that he had discovered when we were working together, and just basically made a new story. It was quite a different story, and then convinced Disney to invest in that story, which was a sizable investment in time and money. And then it was just realising what that was. So it's a new plan. You're not just going in and experimenting. No, we had a new blueprint. That's quite sizable. That's quite a sizable edit. He's saying essentially a whole new story was crafted. And I remember back to the moment, I think it was 2016, going into 2017, maybe even 2015, early 2016 probably, when there was talk of reshoots, and they were trying to play it down. They said it was minor reshoots, just fixing bits and bobs. Of course, we got that initial reveal at Celebration, I think it was, or Comic-Con, and we seen Darth Vader on, I think it may have been his fortress, or maybe even on fucking Krennic's personal ship. We seen the reflection of him speaking, and of course that didn't appear in the actual movie, and there was a lot of people bringing that to attention, if you like, when they watched the movie, just how much of this was changed. We were seeing scenes I think shot in Canary Wharf in London, in the actual tube station, which ultimately didn't make the movie. There was lots of changes hinted at just from a casual viewer going in and watching the movie. And then obviously as time went on, Tony Gilroy came out and spoke about it. He did confirm that it was a lot of creative changes. It was made a much darker movie. The main characters were all killed off, because it made thematic sense. It made sense leading into A New Hope. Where the fuck were these guys? But to see it confirmed again, further embellished out by his brother, that it was in a sense nearly a whole fucking movie remade, just remarkable, and it shows you, and there's a history of this in Star Wars. Obviously George Lucas, the original movie, a bit of a shambles, a bit chaotic, man, he had a heart attack, and it was actually his wife and maybe even Kurtz, I think it was, or someone else who came in and saved the movie by re-editing it and giving it a new lease of life. This is something we've seen done again and again, not just in movies but in Star Wars movies, where a separate set of eyes comes in, reassesses it, says this is wrong, that's wrong, changes it, and we get something special in the end. Because this movie is special. This is the best Disney Star Wars movie put out. It may be how close it is to greatness, how close it is to the original trilogy, but for me, just the acting, just stellar. You've got the likes of Felicity Jones, Diego Luna, as I says, Mads Mikkelsen, Ben Mendelsohn. Just a brilliant movie that's got great rewatchability. It feels like Star Wars. It's special to me. And I'm just glad to see that they brought the likes of Tony in and made that something that could be experienced for a Star Wars fan amidst a sea of absolute shit that came afterwards and before, indeed. Eternally grateful to Tony. Eternally grateful to John for what he's given us with Andor. Great Star Wars content finally for the sort of battered and bruised fandom who have mostly stuck by Lucasfilm and Disney through the good and the absolute fucking god awful. Well man, that's going to round it up. I'm done.